Minister, thank you for your time. You fought the battle on the front lines of Ukraine. Now you're fighting the battle for the future of your country, giving young people hope, supporting exhausted teachers, building the talent for the economic, social, democratic transformation of your country. What gives you hope every day? What gives you energy amidst all the challenges that you face?
This is, above all, a war for people's consciousness. The conflict transitioned from an ideological struggle to open military aggression because Ukraine was moving too quickly toward democracy, toward freedom, and universal human values. For Russia, this was unacceptable. It realized that tactics like information warfare, ensuring corruption, and manipulating Ukrainian politicians would no longer be enough to keep Ukraine in an authoritarian model. That's why Russia resorted to military force. That's why I don't separate the battle on the front lines from the battle for human consciousness through educational reform. For me, they are one and the same. Military victory is impossible without fundamentally transforming our education system. We must break free from authoritarian models of interaction between principal and teacher, teacher and student, rector and professor. If we are to win this war, we must transform our education and build a truly democratic education system, one that shapes individuals to live in freedom and a democratic society. That is the challenge we must rise to.
Minister, in the middle of this war, you brought the new Ukrainian school to life, giving young people ownership over what they learn, how they learn, where they learn, when in their lives they learn, helping teachers to become not just good instructors, but also good coaches, good mentors, good facilitators, creative designers of innovative learning environments. For an outsider, this looks all like a miracle. Where do you see the successes? Where do you see the challenges? What do you think are the next steps?
The new Ukrainian school reform began in 2016, and I firmly believe, like most thoughtful Ukrainians, that it is one of the most important reforms, not just in education, but for the entire country and its future. The reform was successful at the primary level, but the lower secondary school stage faced a series of challenges. Today, our team is driven by a deep belief in the importance of this reform, and we are addressing those challenges. We are also working to ensure the successful implementation of the reforms in upper secondary education. I'm especially grateful to the OECD and to you, Andreas, personally, for your initiative and energy supporting the launch of a pilot program in 30 schools. We have developed standards and started modeling the environment of upper secondary schools thanks to the OECD helping us find financial support. The pilot is essential, not just for those 30 schools, but for a broader transformation. There is still a widespread belief that if a school exists, it should simply continue as is. But we aim to change the environment in which children learn, and this vision isn't yet widely understood or seen in society. Our key challenge now is to show society the full picture of what a modern senior school should be. A redesigned physical space, new kinds of teachers who are mentors and partners to students, and holistic, interdisciplinary content using a whole set of progressive teaching methods. We need to show this to society so people can fall in love with the idea of new schools for a new Ukraine.
Looking forward, are you optimistic about the future of young people in Ukraine? What country do you envisage as the result of your education transformation?
Our task is to build an education system that fully reveals individual potential. Like many European countries, Ukraine is facing a demographic crisis, but ours is worsened by war and migration. With fewer people, we understand we must become more productive. Education must help each person realize their full potential. This begins in preschool and continues in primary, lower secondary, and upper secondary schools, and universities and vocational education. It is very important that we do not separate these stages and only focus on one of them. We view education holistically for all citizens to reach their full potential. This is key to our survival as a nation. Without enabling every person to thrive, we will not win the future. The challenges we face today will persist, whether it's a military confrontation or a prolonged ideological conflict. We must be ready to fight for a long time. We are on the border of Europe, and the stability of Europe depends on our resilience. If people don't see opportunities for self-realization here, we will lose, and all of Europe will lose. Europe risks falling under the influence of authoritarian ideologies. A destabilized Europe would be a global crisis. That's why what we are doing in education in Ukraine is of global importance. I thank the OECD and you personally, Andreas, for your constant presence here and expertise, for PISA as a monitoring tool, support for reforms, the National School of Education, and so much more. This is extremely important and will help us win this war.
My last question, but an important one. Where can the OECD help?
We continue to rely on you for expertise. We continue to measure learning outcomes and are already moving towards the new PISA assessment. We count on your expertise to assess progress in the future. It's crucial that the OECD sends a strong political message in Ukraine. Without meaningful education reform, international support for Ukraine, especially from European countries, will be at risk. Winning the war without transforming education would be like losing the war. That's why we ask the OECD to use its authority and influence to ensure education reform is recognized as one of the criteria for assessing the effectiveness of any kind of power. This is essential. Equally important is financial support. We receive support from the World Bank and other partners, and the OECD plays a key role in helping us secure additional resources and in communicating our reform agenda to partner countries.
Адженту до країн-партнерів.
Дякую. Thank you.